So, as occupational therapists, a lot of the things that we work on with our clients are very personal matters, such as toileting. And it may not be something that the client wants to bring up having a difficulty with, but if they have such conditions, maybe like arthritis, or if they're obese, or if they just have limited range of motion, or if they have certain precautions, they may need an adaptation to complete their toileting routine, especially if they're trying to return home to be modified independent. And so I was looking online for various adaptations, and the one I ended up choosing is called the Easy Wipe Toilet Aid, and you can buy it on Amazon or through a website, and this is what it looks like. Toilet aid, and in real life it's blue. And one of the reasons that I chose this as the adaptation that I chose is because it has a thumb release button. So the client, what they do is they wrap the toilet paper around this side, and then this bar goes down to hold the toilet paper, and then they use it to wipe. And then this little button right there allows them to not have to touch the dirty toilet paper, and it can just drop into the toilet. And the other reason I like this one is because it is dishwasher and alcohol safe to clean it with. So your client isn't going to have to jump through hoops to keep it clean. And this one I like just because it seemed like it was a practical solution instead of having to put the toilet paper in between the tongs where the tongs seemed more likely to get dirty. This one, the area that they're wiping with, the website describes it as a small, more like a finger-like projection so that it's more delicate and more able to clean smaller areas. So that was another reason I like this one. Another important thing to consider whenever you're giving a client adaptive equipment is whether or not the client will actually use it. And I thought this one was very user-friendly. It works for a lot of various disabilities that the client might have, and it's something that the client can take with them if they're going to be traveling somewhere and they're not going to feel weird about having it. It's not like it's ugly or large or bulky. It's simple. If they just had a bag with them, they could stick it in the bag, hopefully maybe like in a plastic bag as well. But it's a small adaptation. So as the OT, as you're recommending toilet adaptations to your client, you might just, when you're doing, perhaps if you're working on toileting with them in the hospital and that's the reason that they came in and you're noticing that they have one of these impairments that might require toilet adaptation, such as lack of range of motion, that you might have one of these cleaned, and you can trial it with them and just explain it to them exactly how it works and see if it's functional for them. Because if you have someone who it just doesn't work or they're not comfortable doing it, they're not going to use it. So you have to make sure that this adaptation fits them, and if it doesn't, you have to try other ones. If the person that you're working with is resistant towards using adaptive equipment, you may find it useful to explain the other options of not being able to toilet independently, such as perhaps they could wear Depends, or if they are going to need someone to help them at all times. And this might help them recognize that while they may not enjoy the adaptive equipment, or they might find it more awkward than the way that they used to go to the bathroom, that in the end, the function that they get out of using an adaptive piece of equipment is better than the other alternatives. So if your client is having these difficulties adapting to use it, you really should try different techniques so that they can find one that works for them. But just making sure that they understand why you're trying to recommend this adaptive equipment so that their life is as functional as it can be, because it really would be difficult to not be able to toilet oneself. So providing them with these resources that allow them to is really probably going to help them. That's all.